transplant. Probably Australia wouldn't do that because it specifically mentions China.
And as you're advocating for an inquiry from Australia, and as you know, Australia and China has a very strong commercial trade relationship. How does that, precondition or sit into the inquiry being pushed through, or how does that politics work between the trade and human rights?
Well, I think when it comes to mentioning China and its human rights violations, that can cause within Australia or any country that has strong relationships, economic relationships with China, it can cause a problem. But there's also, what I would say is when you're dealing with human rights at a structural level, you don't need to mention any particular country. Like China, Australia doesn't have to mention China to enact legislation to prohibit complicity in cross-border transplant abuse, or impose mandatory reporting for transplant tourism, or to deny health insurance benefits to people who engage in transplant abuse abroad, and so on, or immigration controls. There's a whole set of systems that doesn't have to mention a country, but obviously there are some states in the United States, I think, that have legislation that says you can't get health insurance if you go to China for a transplant. Probably Australia wouldn't do that because it specifically mentions China. But Australia could easily say you can't get health insurance if you get like this is what Israel did. They didn't mention China. They said you can't get health insurance if you get a transplant in a country that doesn't have laws like ours. That you see, because once you don't mention China, the Chinese official political attitude is this doesn't apply to us. We're innocent. We don't do anything wrong, so the law doesn't affect us. Even though practically it does. Their facade is they don't want to seem to care because it would be self-implicating.
Yeah. In my circles of lawyer friends and people who are, and I talk to a lot of young 2-3 years of experienced lawyers, and many people want to have that aspiration of being a human rights lawyer. In your extensive experience, in your journey, and I know you've done a fair amount of research on that as well, what would you suggest an upcoming human rights lawyer who are starry-eyed in terms of they want to work into the human rights space? Where should they focus on? Which countries and which areas should they focus on?
Well, as I say, nobody's perfect. So they
start from home.
Well, I wouldn't say that. But what I would say, because, home is fine, but, in Australia, there's lots of people dealing with the issue. And similarly in Canada, I'm not very involved in human rights issues in Canada because I don't need to be. There's lots of other people doing it. I would say focus on countries where the insiders can't do it, because if they do it, they become human rights victims themselves. And the only people who can do it are outsiders. So that would be my suggestion. So that would be China, Russia, Iran, the countries that really go after people inside their own country if they criticize the government. So it has to be outsiders.
Thank you, David, for your time today, and thank you for answering these questions very candidly. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.